Have you ever stopped to think that what comes out of your mouth could be building or destroying your life? It seems like an exaggeration, right? But what if I told you that every word you speak is a portal, an invisible code that programs your subconscious, defines your state of being, and activates creative forces that shape your reality, even when you think you're just joking or venting? Most people keep repeating phrases like, "I'm broke," "I'm a disaster," "My life is stuck," without realizing that each of these statements is like a spell, cast with complete conviction, not because you want it to happen, but because you repeat it. And the subconscious, it has no sense of humor, nor a logical filter. It just listens, feels, and obeys. Whatever you say, it turns into a pattern. Now here's the most counterintuitive point. It doesn't matter whether you believe what you say or not. Frequency comes first. The vibration of words enters your energy field and begins to alter everything around you, like invisible software, reprogramming your existence. In this video, you'll understand why speaking differently is more important than thinking positively, and how to transform your speech into a tool of love, creation, and profound transformation. Ready to discover what's really shaping your life? There's an invisible pattern that governs many people's lives, and it begins with the words that come out of their mouths every day. That phrase thrown into the air, like "my life is a mess," seems harmless, but it's like a secret code sent directly to the universe. And what does the universe do with this code? It responds, always, without judgment, without pause. Reality begins to echo what was stated, as if consciousness were held hostage by an automatic script written without thought. Have you ever noticed how some people are always complaining about being tired, and yet they're always tired, or how others say they're unlucky, and yet everything really seems to go wrong for them? That's no coincidence, it's frequency. Words are vibrations, and every vibration shapes the field around you, as if your subconscious were an antenna, picking up and retransmitting exactly what you say. It's like planting in the dark, and then being surprised by what grows. But in reality, you've always had the hoe in your hand. Now imagine swapping "I can't take it anymore" for "I'm learning to breathe better when faced with challenges." Sounds simple, right? But this change in language alters your state of being, your energy, and consequently, your creation. It starts with a conscious choice and gradually transforms into a habit, an identity, a new reality. And that's where the magic comes in. When you speak differently, you live differently. But what if your subconscious doesn't even fully understand this "I don't want this anymore" talk? Well, that brings us to the next point. The subconscious is like a very attentive child, but one that still doesn't understand the logic of negation. When someone says, "I don't want to suffer anymore," this part of the consciousness doesn't grasp the "no." It only sees the suffering. It's as if you shout out what you want to avoid, and the universe obediently says, "Oh, is that what's vibrating so strongly? Then take more of that." It responds to the emotion behind the word, and not to the logic of the sentence. Think about the last time you said, "I don't want to feel this way anymore." What was the mental image at that moment? Probably the exact state you wanted to avoid. That's how the subconscious works. It deals with images, feelings, frequency. It doesn't understand denial, only emotional direction. If you focus on the pain, it understands that pain is important. But if you focus on peace, even without having it yet, it understands that this is what must be sought and manifested. So, replace "I don't want to fail" with "I'm open to courageous growth." Instead of saying "I don't want to get hurt anymore," say "I choose healthy, loving relationships." This subtle shift changes everything: your state of being, your vibration, your reality. And when your state of being changes, Everything changes with it. But what happens when this new state begins to form from each word? The answer is closer than you think, and it begins with a detail that almost no one realizes. Each word is, in fact, an energetic code. Imagine that every word you utter is like a command sent to an invisible assistant, except that, unlike Siri or Alexa, this assistant doesn't make mistakes, doesn't ask questions, and executes with absolute precision. When you say nothing works for me, you are, without knowing it, pressing enter in a programming that seeks situations where things really don't work out. It's like programming a GPS to take you to chaos, and then being surprised by the potholes along the way. Now think with me, if you can issue negative commands and they work so well, what would happen if you started issuing conscious commands filled with love, high frequency, and affirmation of power? Instead of, I'm trying to be more confident, say, I'm becoming more confident every day. The difference is stark. Trying it leaves room for giving up. Being assumes identity, and the subconscious responds not to what is probable, but to what is declared certain. This is the point where many lives are transformed, when a person realizes that they have always been the programmer of their own system, that everything they experience begins with verbal creation, with what they repeat, feel, and nurture. And the best part, you don't have to wait to feel better to start speaking better. It's by speaking better that new feelings are born. But then, what happens when this better speech comes disguised as a joke? Does the subconscious still take it seriously? Many people think that joking about their own flaws is a sign of humility. And in a way, it is, as long as it doesn't become a mantra disguised as comedy. When someone laughs, I'm a disaster, the subconscious doesn't laugh along, it just registers. Okay, we are disastrous then. And then, as if in a silent script, reality begins to align events to confirm this title. What was a joke becomes a prophecy, and the stage of life responds with scenes that reinforce the role. You know that friend who's always saying, I'm a jinx, always laughing. Take a look at their life. Usually, it's not just a joke, it's a decree. Repetition makes the word vibrate as truth, even if it was said with humor. And behind the lightness of the laughter, there's an emotional pattern being reinforced. Self-esteem molds itself to the tone of the jokes. And often, the person begins to believe that that funny character is all they are. But there's a way out, and it can be fun too. How about turning I'm a disaster into I'm an ongoing adventure? Or my life is chaos into my life has its own rhythm and personality? Humor doesn't have to be the enemy of self-esteem, it can be your ally. The difference lies in the intention and the frequency with which your words are conveyed. And if even jokes influence your creative thinking, imagine what happens when you spend all day complaining, thinking you're just venting. Complaining has become almost a team sport. In traffic, in line at the bank, in family groups, everyone vents their complaints, as if it were a legitimate way to relieve tension. And it even seems to work, right? But the truth is, each complaint is like fertilizer thrown at the root of the problem. The emotional frequency of the complaint spreads throughout the field of consciousness, informing the subconscious. This is important. Keep bringing more. Have you ever seen those people who keep saying they hate their job and then stay there year after year, attracting even more reasons to hate it? Or couples who only talk about each other's flaws and then wonder why their relationship gets worse? It's not bad luck, it's programming. Every time you complain, you're investing creative energy in the very thing you want to change, but without direction. And where there's focus, there's expansion. Complaining becomes an unconscious affirmation and becomes reality. Want to break this cycle? Start with a simple challenge. 1 week without complaining. Whenever you feel like complaining, turn it into a creative affirmation. This transit is stressing me out becomes, I'm learning to maintain my peace wherever I am. Sounds silly. It works miracles. The person who replaces the habit of complaining with the habit of affirming enters a new state of being. And it's in this new state that real transformations begin to happen. But this requires one more step, rewriting the internal script. And this step changes everything. Everyone has a secret script that they repeat mentally day after day. Phrases like, I can never do it. This isn't for me, or that's just the way I am, end up becoming background music, and the subconscious, like an obedient director, plays the story without question. The problem? This script was often written based on fear, rejection, or past failures, and until it's intentionally rewritten, reality will continue to be just a repetition of the same plot. But rewriting this script is possible, and it starts with the affirmations you choose. A phrase like, I hope it works out, sounds optimistic, but still carries doubt. Swap it for, I trust that everything is aligning. This changes your frequency, your state of being, your creation. It's like installing new software in your mind. But it's not enough to repeat words mechanically. You have to feel them. When you say, I am abundant, breathe that word, feel it in your body, see it expanding within you. If you want a practical exercise, grab a notebook and write down, what are the phrases you repeat most about yourself? Then rewrite each one as a positive affirmation. By doing this frequently, you'll notice your identity begin to expand. Your subconscious stops being an automatic repeater and becomes a conscious ally. And when this happens, the impact doesn't just stay within you, because, and this is the most powerful point of all, your speech doesn't just shape your life. It shapes the world around you. Few people realize, but every word thrown into the wind continues to reverberate, not only in your life, but in the collective vibrational field. It's like throwing a stone into a calm lake. The ripples spread far beyond the point of impact. When you say, this will never change, that frequency joins the chorus of voices that keeps the world stagnant. But when you say, I believe in change, that new vibration also propagates and touches people you don't even know. Your words aren't just yours, they are part of the collective consciousness. Have you noticed how inspiring people tend to speak? They don't spread fear, gossip, or despair. They choose words with purpose, love, and presence, and the effect is immediate. Wherever they are, the atmosphere changes. It's as if they raise the frequency of the place, just by the tone of their conversations. And the opposite is also true. There are people who arrive and already bring a dense cloud of complaints and negativity. The difference between these two attitudes lies in the level of consciousness. One uses speech as a tool of creation, the other as a weapon of self-sabotage. So here's an invitation. Speak as one who plants. Choose words that bear fruit for yourself and for those who listen to you. Say, I am growing. I am at peace. Love guides me. Sounds simple. It's transformative. Speech has the power to create bridges or walls. And when you realize that your words are contributing to shaping not only your reality, but also that of those who cross your path, responsibility becomes a mission. And now that you understand this, perhaps you're wondering, how can you apply all this practically in your life, starting today? Now that you know what your words really do, tell me, what have you been saying to yourself when no one is listening? What phrases have been coming out of your mouth every day, like hitting repeat, without even realizing it? Because yes, every time you say, this is not for me, the universe understands, understood, this will not be for you. But the magic is here. The script can be rewritten at any time, with a simple change in your language. And so I ask you, why keep repeating phrases that hold you back when you can choose words that set you free? Why reinforce scarcity when you can vibrate abundance? What would happen if, from now on, you treated each phrase as a portal to the next version of yourself? Have you ever thought about waking up tomorrow saying, "Life is aligning in my favor," and realizing that, little by little, it starts to become true? Transformation is just a word away, and now it's up to you. What will you say from now on? Tell me here in the comments which phrase you will replace today and which new statement you will choose as your starting point. If this content resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here each video is a key to unlocking a new level of your consciousness.